I'm breaking NFL news to you then. Baker Mayfield was traded for a 5th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that was always on the board. So he's going to screw over there.
I mean, there is only one carousel team in the NFL, and that is the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, they actually are taking part of the salary.
Because if I was Carolina, I'm not paying $18 million for him.
They aren't.
Take him off your hands.
It is actually split. He is taking like $4 million. Panthers only paying like $4 million. He's taking a pay cut, and it's a conditional. Thank you. Conditional 5th-round pick. It could be a 4th-round pick. Anyways, we are live.
Hello, Mitch and I are big NFL fans, so we do like to find out what's going on in the news.
Talk about the big the pigskin.
Yeah, the giant corrupt institution that is the NFL.
Along with the other big giant corrupt influential institutions like FIFA.
Yeah, and Roblox. Excellent episode with Mitch and I plus Liam, aka the Black Liam Neeson on Twitter, who isn't in the chat, and he said he was going to be. So, Liam, what's wrong with you?
Disappointed.
I know you say you're ill and you've got some virus thing, but actually, come on.
But not COVID, apparently.
Yeah. Yes, we are Pixel Pints. We are the only podcast that talks about 2 things that we enjoy, which is good beer and video games. We're not here to promote drinking, hence why I'm drinking Lucky Satan's 0 alcohol unfiltered lager. It's also too freaking hot here to drink that much. It's 29 degrees in my flat at the moment. So I'm also sat here with an ice pack on my back because in the UK we don't believe in air conditioning.
We believe in humidity.
It's not actually that humid. It's just horribly hot.
Yeah, it's already 17C and it's not even 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on centre court at Wimbledon where I think it's 32 court temperature.
Oh, good luck to them. Is it Djokovic and Kyrgios?
Yeah.
Go Kyrgios.
The 2 most unlikable people in tennis.
I know.
Are playing against one another.
Poor Taylor Fritz. He had a shot.
Yeah. To bring it back to games, I played the tutorial and 1 match of Match Point Tennis.
That's bad.
Trash.
It's bad.
It's absolutely god awful.
You know what's better, but it's not like it's better and it's actually playable. AO Tennis.
Is that the AO? Was it called Tennis World Tour as well?
No.
Is that a different one?
Different one. This is AO Tennis. It's actually AO Tennis 2 technically. I got it free with my PlayStation Plus subscription. Because I did the smart technique, which was I have 30 days left on my PlayStation Plus before it renews, and so what I did was I upgraded my subscription to the maximum possible to like try out the new stuff, and I only had to pay $5.
Well, and then you can see if you want to renew, but renew at the lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gaming the system, I believe that's called.
Gaming the system.
Yes, if you want to find out what we do and where we are and when, you can follow us on social media, which is at @pixel_pints on Twitter and at @pixelpintspod on Instagram. We archive nearly all of our videos on YouTube, and we archive nearly all of our podcasts on Anchor.fm, who send it out to the World Wide Web through the magic of the internet. So you can pick up the audio versions wherever you get your audio podcasts. Thanks, Anchor. Mitch, how are things in LA? See, I see you're repping the office with your attire today.
Yes. Hold on, let me win.
And for our audio listeners, Mitch has a black Naughty Dog t-shirt on it.
Gotta rep the office. No, things are good. It's sunny in LA. It's a good day. Nothing's changed.
Are you going to do what all people from LA do on sunny Sundays and go to the office
No.
and work
No.
really, really hard.
No.
Do another 8 hours. You skiver.
No, that's not what we do. We, can't say anything, but no, I'm not going to go do that. I do not. I'm not scheduled to work on a weekend. We like our weekends. We enjoy our weekends, and even if we're working on stuff, we enjoy our weekends.
And talking of skivers, Dan was meant to be on, but Dan can't understand how time difference works.
Especially when we're using the same time zone for over almost 2 years now. It's the same system. It's not like I changed it.
Yes, so Dan is on vacation, was hoping to join us from vacation, but can't. He can do Pacific to British summertime and GMT, but he can't do Pacific to East Coast. I don't know how that works either.
Now I'm thinking of that Go-Go song, Vacation's All I Ever Wanted. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. I might have to... this is what happens when you grow up with a sister. An older sister who has control of the radio. This is what happens.
Sometimes I watch some top 10 videos on YouTube, and there was one from Watch Mojo's, the top 10 top 10 songs of the 80s. I didn't recognize half of them because they were all US based release only. I was thinking, what the hell is this?
Those videos are addicting. They are very addicting. They do a very good job, like making an entire empire of their own of media channel of just top 10s. Like, good on them.
And they've got Watch Mojo UK as well, which has some absolute choice ones on there.
They also have Miss Mojo, which is like focused on women-centric content. Like it's fascinating how they've been able to, be such a powerhouse of an empire of top 10s. But yeah, no,
we'll get there one day.
No, on a Sunday, I am deciding to go play some tennis and play what I think is better than Djokovic or Kyrgios, or at least act more appropriately on a court.
Yeah, so I don't know
the court.
as yet. I don't know as yet if Nick Kyrgios has gone into a tirade against the umpire, or Djokovic has feigned an injury to get an injury timeout because he's losing.
I will give him credit though. Usually I'm pretty disappointed in Nick Kyrgios in like regards to how he treats people, but I will say what Stefan Tsitsipas? What Tsitsipas did was breaking the rules. So like Kyrgios did have an argument to say, why in the hell are you not enforcing the rules? So like I get his frustration on that. I know he's trying to win, but like I get it. I respect that one. That one I respect.
The interesting thing about that, I was round at my in-laws and my wife and I, and they were watching it, and they were saying, but he didn't hit anyone on the commentary. If he'd hit someone, he could have been defaulted. And but the rule says you can't hit the ball into the crowd.
Yeah, he hit it.
Not that you can't hit the ball into the crowd and hit someone. So in the same way that they did the NFL, they were refereeing the outcome, not the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we'll stop talking about sport now and get on to number one topic.
Wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's games, sports games, sports.
EA Sports, it's down the toilet. That could be the new slogan.
They lost FIFA. That's EA Sports. We lost FIFA.
Yeah, we used to be entertaining. Right, so Mitch, I take it you. It's too early in the morning for you. That would be unhealthy and unwise to have any alcoholic beverages with you.
Correct.
Have you got your shaky milk tea thing again?
No, Red Bull. But I mean, I actually do have milk tea in here too. But I'm gonna start with the Red Bull.
I'm quite glad I wasn't on the last show because it would just been a whole episode of me feeling old.
You were totally not enjoying us talking about Elmo's adventure on a pogo stick.
Yeah, I think I've missed that or blotted it from my memory.
It was not even on the thumbnail, man. You can come on. Yeah, how could you miss it? I did some great clickbait there by putting Elmo out there. Just be
well,
like,
I tagged you as Big Bird and Matt as Elmo because you're taller than Matt.
am I? How tall's Matt?
Like 5'3", I think.
Oh shit!
In heels.
In heels. Oh wow! I didn't think he was that short. I thought he was much. I thought he was.
He's not.
Oh.
He's taller than that. He's just taking the piss. Right. So, I'll quickly run through a couple of beers that I've got because I have some.
Okay, go for it.
Right. So this I haven't drunk this already. I had this yesterday, but I thought the can was very cool. It is a hazy pale ale.
Okay, it looks kind of disturbing because it looks like it's smelling the other things, but like a dog.
It's a pink armadillo hazy pale ale. And then it's got pink fairy armadillo facts on the can.
Wait, so is that it cut in half basically, the armadillo?
Well,
if so, it's a strange
image in half.
Yeah, if so, that's such a strange choice. Because is there an image of the armadillo like full, or is it only cut in half?
No, just chopped in half.
What the fuck is that? It's like doesn't make sense. Unless you got the bad can, I don't know.
No, no, it must have the way the can art has been printed. It must be like that.
Oh, wow. What a dumb choice.
But this is from a full box of beers that I got with all carbon neutral.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's not just in the manufacturing, but also in the shipping. So I don't know how the hell they manage that, but thank you very much for me being able to drink
drones
free. So I mentioned the Lucky Saint low alcohol, and because it's too hot and it's a school night for me, I also got Beavertown Laser Crush.
Whoa!
Which is a low alcohol IPA.
I mean, you've been spinning that around, but I can't even put two and two together what all that is. I think there's some skeletons. Is that what it is? Okay. I see the skulls now. Okay. I think I was missing the top half of them, so I really couldn't tell what it was, and I was trying to put my focus in. Okay, that's crazy cool.
That's not more than 0.3% ABV. But I do have one that I've got, which is another Beavertown beer. Called Heavy Gravity.
Won't you take me to Beavertown?
Do not age. I won't. Don't worry. I'll be drinking it soon. So this is a hazy IPA. It's 6.5% ABV.
Is there something inside the thing that looks like a block of cheese?
Yeah. So it's meant to be. I think they're meant to be meteors, but on one of them there's a tiny little alien figure, which
it is an alien. Okay.
The figure for their brand. They've got that on, I think, all of their cans, along with the skull. The skull, and it's the eye socket.
Ah, I see it. Okay. Yep.
So, please hold. Caller knows you are waiting. If anyone works in customer service, please don't be as shit as the people who I've had to deal with over the last 2 weeks.
I try to believe that if you're good at customer service, you don't take it personally and you try to be as respectful for the moment as possible while still trying to do your job, which is what I had to do when I was in a call center. And I felt like I balanced the good in between, where I was respectful to the person I was calling, but at the same time, I was doing my job by pushing what I needed to push, but I didn't push past the marker where they're going to scream at me on the phone.
This stuff is amazing. This is really, really fruity. Evan would love this.
Oh, okay.
It's got a really kind of sharp, hoppy hit, but it's quite fruity as well. So of the kind of insatiable IPA stuff that they've got in Japan, for him, this would actually be, well, I'm assuming by what he's been drinking, this would be quite different.
Okay. What kind of fruity flavors are you getting? What's the mix?
Pineapple, grapefruit, orange.
Okay. Wow. That sounds like my kind of beer. actually.
It's really good. It's really good
Okay.
stuff. Actually, it'd be really nice for this kind of weather.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that would be seriously dangerous if you didn't know it's 6.5%, because you just knock that back quite easily.
Yeah, probably a couple.
And then wake up either dehydrated or with gout, or both.
Or how about wake up in a coma?
Yeah, you'd have to drink quite a few.
Come on, Keith. You're not clearly paying attention. How can you wake up in a coma? It's just...
Well, somebody caught me in a coma, and I don't think I want to ever go back to this world again. Guns N' Roses reference for anyone who got that. Right, shall we move on to our topic, which Dan wanted to talk about? He wanted to bitch about Joy-Cons. So we thought, why not? Let's bitch about Joy-Cons. But if we're bitching about Joy-Cons, we might as well mention some other monumental hardware screw-ups that the major platform holders have made over the years. So, Mitch, where would you like to start?
I mean, there's an easy, there's like the giant 500-pound gorilla that I could just take out right now. Can we save that one for me? But I think I'm going to save it for you, because I don't want to come off as biased. So I'm going to go with let's go with that cell processor.
Yeah, that was a major screw up.
Can we just I mean, holy shit, does it cause so many issues right now with putting the PS3 on a cell processor? Like, I can understand.
So
go ahead.
It's screwed emulation.
Yep.
It's screwed porting.
Yep.
To some degree.
That's check number 2. And
it basically lost that entire generation cycle of the console wars, because it meant that, we need a jingle for that. It basically meant that the third parties had to do additional work that they didn't want to do, so they didn't bother.
And 4, you literally have to remaster every single game on that console just to get it out of the hell that it's in. So like, there are still properties that are on the PS3 that I cannot. I do not have a PS3. Do I not have a PS3?
I thought you did.
No, I do. I do. No, I do have a PS3 that I could play right now. And thank God that I learned that you can play your PS3 games on a DualSense. That is the one thing that is sparing the world right now, is you can actually play PS3s on your DualSense. So, I mean, things like Infamous, which I enjoy. I think those games are pretty good. I did not enjoy Second Son very much at all, actually. I think it was definitely my least favorite. But I really liked the first 2 Infamous games. So those games...
I would really like to be able to play the first 2 Infamous games. They were on PlayStation Now when I had my PS.
Well, I mean, technically they're still on PS Plus. You have to stream it. That's the only hiccup. So like, if you don't have good internet, it's going to be difficult to do so. But anyway, like that was just difficult. But I do remember, do you remember this, Keith, back in the day? Back in the olden times when
I must remember it.
This man named Gabe Newell, and that fella, the one that founded. Is he a founder, or is he just the one that made Half-Life and all that stuff?
Oh, he founded Valve.
Okay, he founded Valve, and he's like, PS3 sucks. Like, I'm not gonna make jack shit for it. And then PlayStation must have gave him so much money. He came out on stage and said, PlayStation 3 is amazing. I'm gonna make game exclusive, and like, I'm gonna make games for it. It's like, what?
I can't. I can understand at the time them saying, "Oh yeah, we'll build this specifically in so that developers can do more with it." But the more they made, the more features they included by including the cell processor. So I can't. So each element has to be coded separately to work with the cell processor. I'm not a technical aficionado,
You are no
so
Mark Cerny, is what you're trying to say, right?
Well, I don't think did Mark Cerny come up with the cell processor?
No. But I'm trying to say I'm trying to say he was the one that fixed the solution, so he's like high tech man.
Yeah, I don't think that him coming up with the design and memory access architecture for the PS5, they would have let him anywhere near the PS3. He wouldn't have touched it. It wouldn't have looked like that.
Right.
So if you wanted to get the interactive elements to work with the music, you had to code both of those separately into the cell processor and then code it at the right time for what you wanted to happen to access the different streams of code. It just sounded like an absolute mess. So no wonder companies are just thinking, nah, screw this. We'll get it out and it'll run. But if you really want to play games, we've got this homogenized thing over here called the Xbox 360. Don't worry, Xbox. We'll get on to
you. You ain't scot-free in this generation either, there, bro.
Yeah. Oh Christ, who was in charge of Xbox during the 360 era?
Don Maverick. Oh no, it was well, it was the guy that went to EA.
So, it was Peter Moore
and Don Matrick. Don Matrick, that's who it is. Yeah. So like they both got the. Well, actually, that's more is Peter Moore, and then Don Matrick is the sports TV
yeah.
Sports.
Yeah, that was a marketing failure rather than a hardware failure.
I mean, it also was a hardware failure because they focused and they made it less powerful so they could focus on Kinect. The wrong thing.
Yeah, I think for this I'd like to think that things that actually broke people's ability to enjoy stuff, and I think for that reason, I'd say the cell processor did in terms of people trying to access the best third-party experiences that they could, whereas what Don Matrick did was just completely misread not just one room, but probably all the rooms in the entire world with the development of the Xbox One.
The one thing that I always wished, and maybe now that I work at a studio that did work on cell processor, because we do still have some developers in-house at Naughty Dog that worked on like PS3 games, like even the original Last of Us. I might have to ask them just out of curiosity for the architecture reason of like, did the cell processor really allow them, even though it was like extremely difficult, it seemed like, and this is all off of what we could hear off of news stories from back at that time, but I wonder if the cell processor in the end did like create like things that you couldn't make on like Xbox at the time because of the cell processor. I think
it would have done. It would have just required a hell of a lot more effort.
Yeah, so that's what I'm curious about. So I think I might, that's something I'll ask a fellow dev when I'm in the office sometime. It's just something I didn't think about of asking.
You, a fellow dev, so you work in game development, do you? How many times do you want to drop that in an episode?
I mean, we are counted as devs, so I am a dev.
Yeah,
but I'll ask that, and I'll get back to you on that, Keith, because that'll be interesting. I'm curious if like that it was that powerful. But yes, it was an utter failure in regards to like streamlining it to make it accessible to everyone to be able to streamline their processes to make games for multiple platforms. Hands down, absolutely, I would agree with you.
Yeah, and which is why people, when lots of people talk about the cell processor and the problems that it caused, there's the impending Sony fanboy and fangirl backlash. Is it, have you seen Uncharted? It looks so great compared to this on the Xbox. Is it, yes, but you're talking about people who are working in a dedicated environment, working with the architecture that they had. Mm-hmm. Which is why when it came to pretty much every third-party game, it ran better on the Xbox because it was more simple for them to work on, so that they could tweak it more easily.
It's almost like you wish you could make it's almost wish if you could have had both, like have your cake and eat it too, like a process where you can make like a template that the cell processor would simulate what like similar architecture of the Xbox for those third-party games, but then for first-party you could just solely make it for the cell processor where it would just avoid that template. I don't even know that. Again, I don't know the tech side as well. I know the design wise pretty well, but I don't know the tech side. So, like that, if that's even possible, like that would be interesting, and that might have solved some issues. But anyway, I digress.
So I'm going to give a Xbox dishonorable mention to these things. Xbox controllers.
Oh, interesting, because most people would say they love the Xbox controller more than any other controller on the market. Please tell us why you are turning your backs on them.
I like the ergonomic design of them better than the PlayStation 4 controller. I haven't used the DualSense.
You haven't used the DualSense yet. I will say the DualSense feels much better than the DualShock 4. I would still say ergonomically the Xbox controller does feel superior. But I don't think it's. I'm indifferent on the thumbstick placement, to be honest. Like I grew up so much on PlayStation that having the thumbstick placement isn't as hindrance for me because I grew up on it. So I guess I know for some people it could be jarring, but whatevs.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
So with my Xbox Elite 2, I already have stick drift.
Ooh.
So £120 worth of kit, and I've got stick drift.
And that's supposed to be the superior one too.
Yeah. So I'm quite pissed off with that. I know stick drift is a problem across the gaming industry. We'll get onto.
Well, let's get on. I'll just throw, since you're doing stick drift, my honorable mention with stick drift is my Joy-Con.
Well, let's just dive into shitting on the Nintendo Joy-Cons, because my god, they're shit. I hate them. Wait,
before we move on to the Joy-Con, I just have to ask you about your Xbox controller. Have you like reached out to Microsoft to like try to get it fixed or something, or like what's your situation? We're on Drift Watch. What are we on?
Drift Watch. It's not to the point where I can't actually play, but say if I'm doing what I normally do and playing either Streets of Rage 4 or Xbox Apex Legends. So if I press forward on the left stick and then let go, there's a 50% chance I'll keep going forward for a bit.
Okay.
So I can change the dead zones, but I've increased the dead zones a little bit. But if I keep going, it'll actually impact on my ability to play. But the reason that I've got stick drift is double clicking L3 to sprint in Call of Duty Warzone. So Warzone, to get a speed increase, you have to slide cancel so that you get your tack sprint back, so you can run a bit faster. But in order to do that, you have to repeatedly hit crouch and then sprint straight away afterwards.
So here's the thing for you, and this is what I love about, like, just the actually you could say this about the DualShock 4 as well. This is why I love the touchpad so much. You know why? I take a lot of the inputs that I press on these buttons and put them to swiping up or swiping down, and it is a dream. So like things like running, to like press the instead of pressing the stick, plus it also hurts your thumbs if you do it a lot. You can literally just take your right finger and just not move the camera and hold up and then just swipe and then you're clicked it. So like I love that. I almost wish the Xbox had a touchpad for a reason like that, because it makes it way more accessible. Like holy crap.
I've got paddles, but I've only got 2 of the 4.
Yeah. Because I have paddles in the back. Here's the weird thing about paddles though. Because like I tried, here I'm pulling out a bunch of controllers. I have this one, and I tried to do I have 2 paddles on the back, here, and I tried to do it where I would press the stick, and instead of pressing the stick, I would press the paddle, and it didn't feel right. It didn't work as well. And what ended up happening was I have to like unclick it, and it was just very strange.
Yeah. So for me particularly, I've got I've got these paddles remapped so that I don't have to press the face buttons to do certain actions.
Okay.
So it felt unintuitive.
Inintuitive.
Whatever.
Usually you're the good at English.
Yeah. Intuitive.
I will Google this while you're doing this.
It wasn't intuitive, and I tried another paddle, but I kept pressing it by accident. So I feel like 2 is the best way forward for me. I don't know how people can use this to drive and use all 4 paddles. That's just bonkers. But yeah, so I'm a bit annoyed that slide cancelling in Call of Duty Warzone, which I have deleted now, fuck that game, has caused stick drift. But something else that is suffering somewhat more so for stick drift are the Nintendo Joy-Cons. But I didn't have my Nintendo Switch for long enough because initially I thought, yeah, great,
unintuitive is a word. My inintuitive is not a word.
Yes, I thought.
Damn
I
it!
right.
I'll get you someday, and your pretty dog too.
I really hate the Joy-Cons.
Oh, I do too.
The other
do you remember? Do you remember? God, this would have had to been. Keith, can you go back? Like this would have been 4 years ago, like right before I moved to LA. Oh no, it was 3 years ago, right? And we had Shane Satterfield on the show. Not this show, but our older show.
Paid for a special guest.
Yeah, I paid for a special guest. I swear we talked about the Joy-Con. I just can't remember the context, and I made it into this giant joke, and now I got to go back and find it because I can't remember, and it's bugging the shit out of me. It's like I want to try to find out my joke. I might have to just go on YouTube and maybe I'll share the video during this episode. I'll find the video, I'll find the clip, and then we'll share it live on the show.
We can review it.
Yep.
The thing that I had personally, the problem that I kept on having, and this was a brand new Switch, not so the launch one, but it was absolutely brand new. The right Joy-Con would desync all the time, and it was driving me insane. That, and actually my growing I wouldn't say loathing, but complete lack of interest in Nintendo first-party titles just made me think, why have I got this piece of tech? So I traded it in. But the thing that was driving me bonkers whenever I tried to play it is the right Joy-Con would desync every single time I played. And that would happen even if it was attached to the Switch. It would happen if I tried to play it with the Joy-Cons detached. And I could not fix it without resetting the Joy-Con, attaching it to the Switch, then trying to pair it, and it just made me go absolutely mad every single time. It's like, why the fuck am I having to do this? And then I looked it up online, and it was actually a thing.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just happening to me. It wasn't as if Nintendo had been watching previous episodes of a different show of me slagging them off, had sent me a duff kit. No, it was happening to hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
I did find the episode.
So they had to set up a specific recall, didn't they? Where you'd send your Joy-Con back and they'd send you a new one.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing that they did, because then they had to do it again for the stick drift problem. Dan, hopefully...
Still a problem.
Dan, hopefully that fulfills your issue with Joy-Cons.
Okay, I think I found the clip. You want to watch it? If I can if I can get it to work. Well, hold on. Talk for a few more seconds. I have to find a way to get the video on the screen.
I'm trying to think of more things that I can say that are bad about the Joy-Cons. The infrared reader, what's the point other than to flog you shitty...
Which you'll have to listen to it via the stream, because I don't think you'll be able to listen to it via the feed I have.
Well, as long as you can hear it.
Okay.
And then you can just read it.
Okay, cool. Keep talking. Sorry, I'm working on. It'll take me like 2 minutes, literally.
Well, let me know when you do it, and then I'll have to swap over to the stream, but then we'll be on a bit of a delay. I've just had a message from Mrs. McWomble who said Kyrgios is kicking off.
Kicking off? Like he's winning, or is he not?
No, he's having a bit of a rant.
Oh, of course he is. It wouldn't be a match without it.
So that's a British colloquialism for you, kicking off. It's all kicking off, as in people are getting Larry. You may not even understand Larry either, so I don't know why you use that one.
Yeah, it's interesting word choice on that one, my friend.
I was massively disappointed in my purchasing a Switch at the end. I hope that when they come out with new hardware, that it's not going to be as bad. Although apparently the Switch Lite has got exactly the same issue with stick drift, but in that instance, you have to send your entire Switch back.
Let me go to my third one we were going to talk about, which actually kicks on Nintendo, which then eventually, when I get this thing to work the way I want it to, it will work. But I want to talk about a massive failure. Is how the hell is Nintendo behind a full generation in power for their freaking consoles?
How can you? I take the point, and you are correct. However, the fact that they're selling so frigging many of them, it can't possibly be a failure that they're selling underpowered consoles that are 2 generations behind the current. Because people are buying the bloody things.
I know, but like, what the hell, man? It like makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I can understand from their point of view that it's for them. Is Nintendo's console ever, other than the N64, maybe ever been about keeping up with the Joneses in terms of a power race?
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, I'm ready. I think I got this. But the question is, are you ready for this?
You're ready for this?
I just need to hide something because I will not have our wrong one. I will not have our facial expressions on the screen because I don't have it where I can set it up for 2 at the moment. But I do have the episode on video being ready to pull up. You ready to watch it?
Go for it.
All right. So this context, we brought in Shane to our very old show, long time ago. This was it 1 reboot ago? Was it 2?
Yeah, 1 reboot.
1 reboot ago. Okay, so this was our show called the Beerumvirate. The still contained the trio quadrant depending on who was on, but it turned into mainly just you, me, and Burkoff, and then Evan would pop in on occasion. But it did start with you, Burkoff, and Evan, and then I took over because I kept just being like, "When are we recording?" Not asking out of permission, being like, "Hey, do you want me on as a guest again?" Just like
I kept saying no, but the other 2 were all like, "All right then."
So this is when we had Shane Satterfield on the show. So I definitely talked about Joy-Cons, and so this is it. Here we go. Let me get the audio.
No, you did not. So yeah, my rumor, my source has been real fishy lately. So I may had to bring him back from the dead because it kind of just didn't work out. So I did some Mayan ritual stuff just for him. I learned it from Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Got all the technique. It was all English. It was great. So the rumor that he told me is that, so we have the whole Joy-Con drifting thing, which is a legit thing. I ran into it. I had to buy new Joy-Cons because
you went and bought them?
I went and bought new Joy-Cons because I couldn't play. I was so frustrated. I was trying to play Celeste like months ago, and I was like, I can't beat this game with this drifting. It's making it impossible. So I said, fine, I'm gonna buy some new Joy-Cons. I'll go send the other one to Nintendo so I can get it fixed. But I've heard a rumor that it's actually not the Joy-Cons, that it's actually the games. And so now you can send every single game that it's drifting back to Nintendo, and they'll give you a brand new copy of the game.
Without the drifting analog stick code in it.
Without the drifting analog stick code.
Great.
That was really good.
So really, I don't know how far you made it, Keith, but it was never the Joy-Cons. It's actually the game. It's just... Oh, he had to switch. I see. You had to switch. You couldn't even hear that. So I was gonna say. So Keith, actually, it was never the Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
it was the game. I completely forgot about that rumor.
I can't even remember what we were doing then. I need to go back and rewatch some of our.
That one was we were making up like a like stupid video game rumors that like make that are entirely like. I think we were trying to like change up video game rumors to like make comedy out of them.
Well, yeah, how far could we push it but people would believe?
Exactly, that's what it was. And then for me, it was I think I had a source. I kept saying like I had a source, and there was a running gag, something about like I was beating up my source and it was trapped in the closet somewhere, like, and I was like just beating them for information or something.
You still could be. I don't know.
I mean, this apartment has no basement, but that's
so you dug one yourself.
Yeah. Don't tell my landlord.
Yeah. No basements in LA. Earthquakes.
No basements here.
So should we move on to the
well, let's finish with why in the hell is Nintendo choosing to basically give up on having current gen hardware? Like, why? What is it that they love staying behind the 8 ball in regards to, you know, like the current standard? Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think it is? Because I have no idea.
Well, I think there's a couple of things here, which is that games don't require that much power, so why pay for it if you don't need it? Even the game that will win Game of the Year whenever it comes out, Zelda getting breathed on by Link wildly 2, that doesn't need the same level of power as probably half of the games that are getting released on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. So it's less about raw power and more about the economics of how much you're going to pay to get that raw power. But
you're still paying a hefty price for that Switch, and that thing is like,
that's just people being stupid enough to pay for it.
It's as I have my Switch right there. That's to be frank, my friend gave me $100 so I didn't have to buy so he would. So he wanted me and he bought other people's Switches. This is how much he wants people in the ecosystem. He's like, I want to go get one day one. Go stand in line with me. And I was like, I don't want to pay full price for that thing. And he goes, I'll give you $100 off your Switch if you do it. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. So we stood in line to get Zelda breathing on the forest for doing nothing for hours in a blank, empty world.
With lots of pop-in.
Very basic enemy set, and yes, weapon degradation for $100 off.
I don't think Nintendo are thinking anything about we need to compete, because Iwata used to talk about the separate oceans.
They're in their own land. They're in Candy Land.
They know that people are going to buy their kiddie games.
I just would love to see Mario and, like, sure, is Zelda Breath of the Wild is not a bad game. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think it's just a good game. But like, if it had the real power behind it, like if you could really like use current gen hardware on it, that game could have been incredible. It could have been incredible, but it's held back because of the stupid hardware. That's the issue. Is like we could get amazing experiences from their video games, and we cannot because they made the stupid decision to say, no, we are fine staying in the past. We're fine. And that's whatever. If you want to do your thing, whatever. I'm going to ridicule you forever because you had an opportunity and you biffed it. Like, I enjoy being able to take these things on the go, but like, I don't really play these on the go. I use it as a console. I don't use it as much as a handheld.
If you want a proper handheld,
make one.
You can get a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And you can run PS2 games on that.
Yeah.
Just get a Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Steam Deck. Stream Deck is something else.
Yeah. Or why don't you just have the Switch be the handheld and actually make a console where you could have amazing experiences? God, it's just
I don't believe in it.
Yes, they do. That's bull. Yes, they do.
They've never released two consoles at the same time.
They're not a console. No, they will call this a handheld and release a console because they've done that for years.
Yeah, with the DS.
They had the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy SP. They've had the 3DS, right? The DS. While they are having the Switch. I mean, not the Switch. The Wii. The Wii U, the GameCube. Heck, they have attachments to the GameCube where you could play your handheld on your console if you wanted to. Why in the world are they I just don't. I mean, I guess I get it, but I don't back up their choice. I'm not backing up their choices.
It's a creative issue rather than a hardware one.
No,
but they don't actually have the people to think about making the type of games that you and I would think are AAA enough.
No, I highly doubt that. Like if they did, then clearly they need to hire new people then, because to hold back your hardware because of and that seems reverse of what companies do. Like companies get like the early specs of the hardware from like an example, like if you're Xbox and you're making the next Xbox, you're not going to the devs and going like, hey, what kind of like do you want
to make?
Like they kind of do.
Do you think this will do it?
Well, they kind of do, but like then that doesn't influence 100% the decision, but at least it helps shape the decision a little bit. But it wouldn't be enough to be like, hey, like, oh God, if I had like only 10 more gigs of data that I could put into this game, oh man, I could make everything. And it's like, well, what if you could have 50 more? It's like, oh my God, I could do so much more. Like I highly doubt
I think the next thing for Nintendo will be, can our system run Unreal Engine 5?
No, it won't. I guarantee you it won't.
If it can't, all it's going to be is another Nintendo first-party machine.
Yeah, it's literally what they're doing right now. That's literally what they're doing right now. They're running themselves to the ground that way, and to the bank.
Well, I think, yeah. Well, there's enough.
They're running to the
12. There's always 20 million rabid Nintendo fans somewhere.
Yeah, I mean they're running to the bank happily, but they're running to the ground everyone else that's not a fanboy that's willing to go buy their stuff day one. Because, like, again, I'm not willing to buy their stuff day one. I only did it because I got $100 discount.
I've no interest in buying anything Nintendo make at the moment.
Like, to be honest, if they make another console, I'm not sure if I'm going to really buy it. No, especially if it's only just a small iteration step up. No, it's not on my mind. So that was mine, Keith. What is your hardware?
Oh, it's the ultimate hardware failure. It failed 3 times for me.
Oh, hold on. Can I look up the legit number of how many they actually were before you say
it? So you know what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the failure that everyone points to when they mention failures of manufacturing in the games industry. And it's the Xbox 360 red ring of death. I got a launch model Xbox 360 that red ringed. I sent that away to Microsoft to fix. I got a allegedly new model back that red ringed. So I had to send that back and got a refurbished model, and that red ringed. So I had to send that back. They sent me a new one, but I didn't want to use it, so I went and traded my Xbox 360 in to get one of the revised iterations that didn't have the issue with overheating.
Do you want me to go over this? Because I actually found a document that covers the red ring of death.
Yeah, go for it.
So
it's fucking painful.
So the Xbox, it's called the light codes specifically. So the front of the Xbox 360 has a ring light with 4 LEDs to indicate what's happening. So if it's powered on, it has a green ring on the top left corner. Now, if you have a hardware failure, you have a red ring only in the bottom right corner. If you have, so I'm going to go 1, 2, there's actually 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings, 4 rings.
4 segments to the ring.
Yep, 4 segments to the ring, sorry. So one segment's a hardware failure, bottom right corner with a red flash. Usually 2 error codes will display. The second one is overheating, and that is the entire left side, the 2 are red. It's when the temperature of the console reaches an unusual high level, and the console will shut the CPU and GPU. The fans will run at full speed while Q1 and Q3 flash, quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. General hardware failure. That is 3 segments. That is the one in the top left, the bottom left, and the bottom right. That one is when the failure of one or more hardware components occurs. Q1, Q3, and Q4 flash red. Unlike the one light error, there is an error code displayed on the connected display. And then the final one is all of them are red. It's a red party, which is the AV cable error. When the AV cable is not disconnected due to not being plugged in and due to a serious error, all 4 quadrants will flash red. This error code will not display on consoles with an HDMI connection. So that is the red ring of death.
Well, that doesn't match with my experience. The thing that really pissed me off, and I was getting really angry, is this happened. It scratched. So when it happened the first time, the machine shut down, obviously, and I can't remember what game I was playing, but I heard it, and turned it back on, ejected the disc from the drive, and it was scratched to fuck.
So, okay, so this is the second hardware failure, and I do have a story on this one, because I did have an Xbox 360. I did not get the red ring of death, but I did get this. So apparently, like a lot of the times I got nervous about the overheating because of the red ring of death. So I was playing at my dad's house once. I was playing Gears of War 2. And I was nervous because I was playing for quite a while already. I was probably like 4 or 5 hours playing already. And I was like, ooh, it's sounding like the fans are going pretty hard. I probably should flip my console from upwards to down just to like let the vents like vent more in different areas. As soon as I did that, I heard a and so I like shut it off really quick and I took out the disc. Around the entire disc, it did an entire like 3 full rings of scratch, which I found out that comparative to the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 3 secures your disc so you can flip your console any direction you want and the disc will be okay. Where in this case, apparently the Xbox 360 made it manufacturer-wise where it
was just a tray.
Yeah, it was just a tray. So it could fall out of the tray and then it would scratch itself in the process. Holy crap, is that a bad idea?
Yeah, so when I had my Xbox 360, it was always flat. So because I didn't want to stand it up for that very reason. So when it red ringed and it scratched it, I got seriously pissed off.
What game did it scratch?
I can't remember, but Xbox wouldn't refund me to get a new game. I said, but it did it because it red ringed, and they said, well, you can't prove it. The second thing they did that really pissed me off at the time is they blamed me for it red ringing.
Oh, whew. Wait, how early in this was the red ring? Like, was this when they were already like, we are taking them back and fixing them?
They knew it was an issue, but it hadn't kind of blown up across
the world yet.
The media that they've got a serious manufacturing error, but they knew it was an issue. So when I rang them up and reported the issue and said what was going on. They said, "Do you have it in a cabinet?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Are you sure?" I was like, "I think I know where I've got my own fucking Xbox in my own fucking room." Obviously, I didn't say it like that because I was polite to the person on the other end of the phone. It's not their fault that the manufacturing went wrong. But I just thought, don't blame the customer for your manufacturing failures. If I've got a console, I have it open. It's never been enclosed in anything. Unlike Evan had his PlayStation 4 in a cabinet, and he used to have to open the door because if he had the door closed, it would overheat.
Okay, here we go. So since its release in 2005, many articles have appeared portraying that the failure rates were estimated by two different publications. Square Trader said it was about 23%, to almost 24. It's like 23.7 in 2009. And then Game Informer did a survey and they got 54.2%. That's a lot.
Well, they must have asked me. I had three times it happened to me.
That is just crazy.
But the first time I was, the customer service people were trying to blame me for it, and then only begrudgingly agreed at the end. They went through this kind of checklist of questions to say, I know, have you wrapped it in a towel? Do you game from your
Did you cuddle it at night, and did you make sure it got a nice cold drink of water before you started to play it? Did it get its milk?
Do you game from the inside of your microwave? It was really stupid,
right? Because they're trying to come up with any reason not to be able to give you a refund, like any other company would do.
Yeah, but that's also daft. That's the IKEA model.
Yep. See, this is, and also because of the age of media, this is shit they would try to get away with as a company. Not just this company. This is all major companies would try to get away with stuff like this if they could. But now, in the dawn of age of social media, they would not dare to try to do that because someone would record that, someone would put that on the internet, and then everyone would blow up, and then they would look bad, and then they're like, "Oh no, we can't have that anymore."
Yeah, saying that so once all of that had gone through, they sent me a bag to put it in, and actually from that point on the customer service was quite good. The second time it happened, there was no problem whatsoever. They're just like, yeah, sure, send it back.
They're probably like, oh, we hit that 54% thresh mark. 2 out of 3 callers have an issue. Oh, we should probably just take it. I don't want to argue with this guy. I've argued with 3 people on the phone today.
Yeah. So the third time I was fuming. It's like, seriously, you said me 2, and I've still got the same problem.
3 times. That's crazy.
And they said, oh, there's been another manufacturing run. Well, the next one we send you won't have a problem. I said, well, the next manufacturing run is the new iteration. Can you send me one of those? Said, no. Why not?
Oh, that would have been great. You get an Xbox One for your Red Ring a day.
No. So it's not. It wasn't the Xbox One. It was the new black.
Oh, is it the Sorry, I just had it ready.
The black angular version.
Yeah, that's right. I know they called it something else. Wasn't it the
S? There's the Xbox 360 C or D, and then the last one was the Xbox 360 E.
Oh, let me look
which
up.
was the one that came out around about the time of the just before the Xbox One launched. So that was the one that Don Matrix said, "We've got a console that you don't have to connect to the internet. It's called the Xbox 360." Brick.
Let's see. Wikipedia can tell me how many iterations there were. Hardware.
So there was the initial one.
Retail configurations. Here we go. Elite. No.
There was one before that.
No, well. Oh, okay. So there was Xbox 360, Elites, Xbox 360S, Xbox 360E.
Yeah. So I eventually ended up with an Xbox 360E by trading him the third Xbox.
Did you get the 250 gigabyte one, or did you get the 4 gig?
250.
Okay, nice. $299, $300 value.
I didn't buy that.
Absolutely
but
free.
It did really wind me up. And I was just thinking, why the hell would I trust the Xbox with their next round of hardware? And it was that experience that put me off and just went, one, my experience with your old console has been shocking. 2, your customer service initially was shocking. 3, your E3 presentation
was shocking.
for the Xbox One was shocking. I'm buying a PS4.
Also, I can't. You're DRMing my games. I'm not buying your console.
Yeah. Well, they've got DRM on the Xbox 360 series consoles. And they just don't tell anyone about it.
I mean, they technically, there has been some fallout of some DRM in the current Xbox games.
Yeah, it's there. It's just they don't tell people.
Yep,
that
it's
there.
very hidden. If you gotta be able to find it. It's not common like it was going to be when they're with their original game plan, but it is still there.
You can find it quite easily if your Wi-Fi gets knocked out, or your internet goes down, or your power, the power to your router goes, or your router blows up for some reason.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tomato, and leisure.
It sounds better with a British accent than when we say it. Like, sorry, not British accent.
Tomato.
A UK accent. Tomato.
English.
In English, whatever.
Yeah. I do have an English accent, unfortunately. I'd much rather sound Scottish. I should move to Scotland, so I do pick up accents quite easily. So if I did move there, I would sound more Scottish quite soon. Anyway, but if your internet gets knocked out for any reason and you try and play pretty much any game on a Xbox Series console, you will run into an error.
Or or mainly if you try to play anything that is backwards compatible, because technically they're not because they're not playing it from the actual disc.
Yeah,
you have to have an internet connection to get the game.
Downloading a patch. So and even if you've got that patch downloaded, it still won't work because it has to connect to the servers to check that the patch is up to date. So yeah,
yikesy.
Takes the piss. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, just be forward. That's all I care about. I just care about transparency.
Which is why they've started doing Xbox One, Xbox X, or Xbox Series only games, rather than if you buy the game with the enhanced for Series X on it, you can't play that offline. You need an internet connection for that to work. But if you buy the physical game that says just a white slash across it that says
it's
Xbox
too damn complicated.
Series, it's too complicated. But yeah, the Xbox 360, I had one for years. Well, actually, I had 4.
True. Very true. Very, very true. Enemy War, wow, that was just a bad word conjumble.
Yeah. Well, at least you're still breathing.
That's true.
I don't know how I'd get EMTs to you.
I mean, you could. People would say like, Mitch, are you having a small stroke? No, I'm fine. But basically, any more hardware caboodles, because I don't really have any. Besides
Well,
that,
I
hardware has
think
been
we've-
very good to me.
Yeah, I can't. The thing is, I've talked to people about my experience with the Red Ring of Death, and people are like, "Oh, you had it?" It's like, yes,
Because I didn't have it either.
3 goddamn times. And I'm literally the only person who I know that had the Red Ring of Death, and not just that, I had it 3 goddamn times.
You know what? Actually,
So-
let's transition this to one good hardware decision. And I'll start. This one I wish turned into something more, which actually just stayed where it was and it died out to pasture. And I will say it is the 3D from the 3DS.
Okay,
I thought that
I never had a 3DS.
I think that technology was really smart. I really liked how it didn't require glasses. It worked. It actually was functioning very well as a system in regards to the 3D. I wish it transferred to other. I mean, you know, I think there was just a lot of wasted potential with that, and I wish that there was a next iteration of that. And yes, it was like, well, what do you think? 3D is so cool, but it's just like it looked great, like it did, and I remember my experience with Avatar when I first went to see that movie, and obviously it's thinking about it in past context, it was a pretty unremarkable film as like story, plot, characters, all that kind of stuff, but like the 3D technology was so fascinating. To go see it was more fun for the 3D experience than it was about the film itself. And I felt like that was what the Switch was, that's what the 3DS was offering at the time. But I think also they had good games with it too. And so I think they could create really interesting experiences for gamers that we just would never get anywhere else. Especially with especially with the battle with virtual reality and augmented reality, it kind of went like, it kind of added to that mix a little bit to offer different experiences.
I saw someone play it and thought, what kind of fucking voodoo magic is this?
It's great voodoo magic.
So how they managed to do that is really impressive. The thing for me is the application. How do you then move that into the mainstream? Because going to what you said about the movies, is that okay? You've made a shit movie, but you've made it in 3D. You can make better movies in 2D. I don't see the paradigm shift here.
I think what I liked about that 3D was the immersion. I felt more immersed in that world, and especially it kind of was the perfect film to do it too, because this was like it was like a space film with a new world full of greenery. And I think what really like made the technology really impressive was every time when I was like watching the sequences, I felt like I was in the actual jungle because I could see different parts of the forest and all that kind of stuff surrounding me, and it was really impressive in that way. And I think games could do that too, where especially imagine like a first person, just imagine a Bethesda game using that type of 3D technology where literally you have the world encompassed around you. It will actually put you more into that experience than ever before.
Imagine the motion sickness playing Spider-Man.
Well, it doesn't have to be every game. That's the thing. Not every game.
And that's the thing. For it to become affordable, it would have to be every game, because you'd have to get it on every TV, unless you were doing it for a certain.
Now here I'm just imagining if Nintendo's
subset of the market.
Well, I'm just imagining if Nintendo's going in their direction. Just put it on their next console.
Yeah. Oh, they could. I mean, if they did, I still wouldn't give a shit because I don't like any of their IP.
You don't want Zelda breathing in the wild in 3D? Come on, it would make it a 14 out of 10 game, man.
I can see my sword rusting before my eyes.
The shattered pieces go straight into your eyes. Like, damn it.
I'm trying to think of a piece of hardware that I would actually really, really want, and I really can't. I think the only thing that I would think about is, have you seen these full body rig things where you get into a little pod and it's got a platform underneath, like you're on a treadmill, but it's a 360 treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
And you
No, I've seen those.
So
I saw a guy who also had a harness that he could actually like pretend to swim because it would hold him in the air if he dropped all the way down. He would be off the ground, and I saw him, it was a TikTok. I saw him swimming. I was like, wow, that's impressive. But I've seen the walkers. I've never tried them. I thought they looked pretty impressive.
I can't remember where this was. I don't know if they were trialing it in London, New York, and LA, but they were doing I think it was Counter-Strike. And
I
it was
believe
Counter-Strike it was Counter-Strike VR, but they had the people playing the game in these pods. So you had the VR headset, you had your
gun,
fake gun, and you were on this 360 treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you couldn't do is actually, it wouldn't read your body movement. So if you wanted to crouch, you actually had to press a button on your fake gun to crouch. But all of the other things you were doing yourself. So if you wanted to run to somewhere, if you wanted to creep, you just walk slowly.
Right.
So it's that kind of extension for where we are now to Ready Player One.
Pretty damn close. We're getting there.
I think that would be the next thing that would interest me. Anything now that VR doesn't interest me that much.
But imagine
augmented
the price
reality,
point.
Yeah, augmented reality doesn't interest me that much. Even 3D, it was like, just make good stuff in 2D for fuck's sake. I can't really think of something.
I mean,
tell you what though. Hang on, I've thought
Go
of
ahead.
something. Xbox, get some decent goddamn rumble in your controllers, because they're shocking how bad it is.
The DualSense is amazing. The DualSense with the functionality is amazing. It's amazing.
Because I think I did the Xbox survey where they just basically listed all the stuff that people like about the PS5 and said, would you like this in the next series of Xbox? And I think the stuff that I focused on was about the controller.
Yeah, usually Xbox is ahead of the curve when it comes to controller functionalities, but man, Sony has done a real impressive job with pushing forward with the DualSense.
Yeah, this the base one.
But
it feels really nice in your hand. But anytime most of the time I actually switch the rumble off, because it's somewhat distracting of just having this go on one side of the controller.
Interesting.
Which it is mainly. Either that, I've got another fucking duff Xbox product, and because it just seems to rumble on the left side rather than the right.
Interesting. Because like, to answer your question about like, I think AR, I mean, could really be something really amazing. I mean, we saw the potential with Pokemon Go, but I can just imagine like an action. Here's what I see more of. I see more of an augmented reality Pokemon game where it's actually like legit, where it's not just like, oh, you just walk around and walking gives you points and all that kind of stuff. Like, no, it's like everywhere you go around the world, there is Pokemon. You capture them. You actually battle them. There's actual gym leaders where you actually battle them, and it's based off like your location. And it's almost like Pokemon is in the real world for what it is. I know Pokemon Go kind of evolved a little more into that, but I think like starting from scratch, you could actually make it happen. Yeah. And I think that would be way more impressive than playing a VR Pokemon game.
Yeah. For me, I don't...
Like, it just depends on the property, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
Someone would have to show me something in VR that absolutely blew my mind. I don't know if someone gave me...
AR or VR?
VR.
Oh,
okay. Or both.
I mean, AR, the price point's cheaper because you can do it off your phone.
Yeah. Whereas if someone said, look, here's the like a $2,500 gaming rig, and Half-Life Alyx and the I can't remember what the Vive headset's called.
Oculus.
Is it a Vive?
Yeah, it's Vive.
Vive and a Vive headset.
You answered your own question.
Yeah. Here's Go play Half-Life, Alex. I don't know. I might play that and think, "Whoa, shit, this is amazing." But equally, I might think, "Yeah, dude, there is no way that I'm going to spend over $3,000 on getting all of that just to play the one game that actually makes the most of all of that."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know where this market is. I don't know where it's going. Like you were saying earlier, I don't know what Nintendo are doing. If they come out with a new console. Sorry, if you haven't realised, I'm just kind of trying to tie this up with a neat little bow. If they do come out with another console and handheld combo, I think they might be good to revisit the 3D technology that they had in the 3DS, because it was impressive.
Mm-hmm. And it would be mass adopted because people want the next Switch, because it's not like it's just a handheld. This is the console. Like, there's only one.
Yeah. If you can, and equally, if they could do an actual console plus a handheld that is the Switch 2 or the Switch Swatch. Yeah. You can get
Switch
Breath
phone.
Of the Wild 2. Yeah, you can get Breath of the Wild 2, and it's going to look 4K HDR on the console, but you can equally get it on the Swatch. People are going to fall over themselves, and they're going to buy it twice.
Now, see,
because that's what Nintendo do, because they sell you different products that you can't get on either one.
I don't know how they would do that, though, to be honest. Like, it's for, like, who cares if it's in 4K if the images look like crap because of the processing power can't have high-res textures?
Well, that's what I'm on about. If they've
There's no way to
something powerful enough that it can actually support.
But the thing is, it can't support
more
handheld
than
mode.
720p display.
That's the issue. Is like you have to have a handheld mode, and like, are you saying it's just gonna look like?
No, I say they totally switch. Get it?
But that's gonna be hella expensive.
Yeah. Well, there's at least 25 million people out there who'll buy it. 25 million idiots. Yeah, I should really write to Dan and say, how dare you mention this for bringing up all my bad memories about the Xbox 360. And I'm very glad that my Series X hasn't plumed into a big cloud of green smoke.
True, very true. Be very grateful. It hasn't frozen over like a refrigerator.
Yeah, those fridges do look quite cool, but you can't really fit very much in them.
I would expect them to be bigger.
Space. They take up a hell of a lot of space for the amount of stuff you can fit in it.
Right. I expect it to be like 3 times the size. Not like that. Again, I think OTAP showed us it only fits like 4 cans of beer.
I think it's 6, but you've got a stack too.
It's not.
If I'm paying that amount of money, I want to walk in. I want to be able to press the white button on the top and the door opens and it's actually a walk-in fridge.
Also makes the Xbox sound as it opens the menu screen.
Yeah, that would be freaking brilliant.
Yeah, see, it's when they don't take the meme far enough.
Yeah,
they just do the bare minimum. You know, they didn't do the Los Angeles Charger style release video of it. They did like the Green Bay Packer version, which is just enough.
They did the Miami Dolphin version of Tua throwing that wobbly ball
and it just didn't make it. It just didn't make it. Well, should I say it?
Yeah, you go for it.
On that note, we'll see you next time.
I'm sure some people listening to this are just don't, whatever you do on the point, don't buy lottery tickets. And I'll say, I always live in
You know, because I control the music and it's blaring so loud, I can never hear what you say during the beginning and the outro.